what I would like for us now to all bring our attention back to the screen. So again, you guys should have had a pencil, an eraser out, and what we're going to do today is we're gonna pick up where we left off yesterday. Yesterday, we learned about what?
Magnets.
Rocks and magnets? We watched a video on that.
No, what is on the solar system?
Okay, it does have to do with the solar system. What did we learn about yesterday? That's a very dangerous place to live. You can't live there.
Oh yeah, the moon
Is that what you're gonna say, Marilyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not wrong. I mean, we did learn about magnetic fields. We learned about meteors or rocks in the solar system, right? But those things did, of course, play a role in creating the moon. We learned about how the moon was created yesterday. So today we're gonna continue where I told you we leave off on. And it's more so introducing you guys to the idea of moon phases. We're gonna learn about moon phases, we're gonna learn about eclipses, and this does build on their unit, the last one, that has to do with space, the solar system, light, and things like that. So, what I'm going to have you guys do is Andres is gonna pass out packets to each of you. And I want you guys to just write your name. It's over here. Just pass a copy out to everyone. You're gonna write your name at the top, and today's date is the 5th, December 5th. And again, guys, if you haven't already seen it, I will keep our little countdown to Christmas right here. So we got 20 days before Christmas. And we're gonna play probably Christmas music until we go on break, which is in 2 weeks from now. Well, it's technically from tomorrow. So, once again, when you get your guys' papers, write your name and the date. I'm gonna go over our PowerPoint, where we're gonna talk more about moon phases and things like that. There's a packet. So if you guys, oh, that could have been my fault. Did you guys get separate pages by
Oh,
mistake?
here.
It was my mistake. I put the teacher copy, which I forgot to staple. If you got one paper, just raise your hand up. And I'll just hand you a packet.
No, I got a packet.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I got it.
Here you go.
You guys got packets? Make sure you guys have a full packet. It's not a big deal. These happen. I'll be right there.
Oh.
Was that just a single page? Thank you, ladies.
Oh, you give me another one.
I just picked one. I don't think I know what order it's in. Okay. We do have extra copies. So once everyone, all right, guys, let's bring it back. These things happen. It's not a big deal. Once everyone has a copy, Andres, can you also kindly give one to Miss Flora and Miss Pamela if you bring me the rest?
Yeah.
Just so they also know what we're doing. Okay. So what we're gonna have on the screen now is I'm just gonna pull up this packet in front of you. Just so you can see a little bigger. Thank you, sir. What is it? Sir. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Can I please bring your attention to the screen? Obviously, this might be a little hard to see, but it's in the order of the packets that you're given. Okay? So, we're learning about moon phases. And I would love for you guys to take turns reading this. So, who wants to start off reading the very top? Okay, I'm going to take people raising hand. Andres, you can start. Libby, I'll come back to you. The first one, under moon phases, what does it say? And if you can't read up here, it's also in front of you, that first paragraph.
Imagine the moon as a big reflect
reflective
reflective bell in the
Ball?
sky.
ball.
A ball in the sky that travels around the earth. As it moves, different paths, parts of the light up and become visible to us. We call these different shapes of the moon
Phases.
phases. There are four main phases that we often talk about.
Awesome, thank you, Andres. So, this big reflective ball that you see in the sky, I don't know if you guys know, is obviously the moon, but the moon orbits the earth, right? The moon orbits around the earth. That's why it says it travels around the earth. And when it travels, you see the moon in different ways. What kind of shapes have you seen the moon look like?
Half of it,
You seen half a moon, full moon?
The,
Kind of looks like a crescent, right?
yeah, like the crescent.
It's cute, right? Don't you guys love drawing crescents? I love drawing crescents, half moon. Yes, like a banana, perfect, right? The crescent looks like the shape of the banana, right? And then when we think of these moons, what's not so obvious to us is that there are actually 4 different main phases that we often talk about. We'll be like, oh my God, look at the moon. It looks so pretty tonight. It looks like the 4 shapes that we mentioned, and then there are 4 specific phases that we pay more attention to. So, Olivia, I know you're blowing your nose. Do you want to read this next one, or do you want me to come back to you? I'll come back to you,
The
okay?
next character, let's go.
Yeah, do you want to read it, Nikhil?
Now,
The first one for new moon?
New moon, this is when the moon is completed,
Completely dark.
completed dark, and we can't see it at all because the sound that
Side.
Huh?
The side that's facing us.
that side,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
side is not lit up by the sun.
Okay, good. So I was saying, you read perfectly, the side that's facing us is not.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. I know, and you know what we don't talk about? For example, we had the new moon, I think just like 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And that's not obvious to us, because when we have the new moon, that's when you can't see the moon. I don't know if you guys always notice it. We usually are like, oh my gosh, the moon looks so pretty. There are times you can't see the moon in the sky. And that's when it's completely dark. You'll be like, that's a star, that's not the moon. So that's what you would call a new moon. So that's probably something you guys will notice more now. Who wants to read the next one? Thank you, Michaela. Olivia, you want to try now? And I'll come back to you, Esmeralda, for the next one. For you, you're going to read the first quarter. It's the second one. So we can read together. Right over here. So first quarter, about a week after the new moon, we see half of the moon's face lit up on the right side. It looks like a half circle in the sky. Thank you for reading. So, you guys, we have seen first quarter, and that's when it looks like the moon is kind of fading out. You can only see half of it, right? That's usually a week after the new moon. So you guys will probably notice this if you guys look outside at night. And honestly, now it gets dark around 5 o'clock. So only an hour or 2 after school. I know we miss those long days, but okay, so the red moon, that's usually when you have like a super moon or the blood moon. Yeah, so that usually happens. Well, that one happens around summertime.
There's like this moon that comes like when the sun is gone. Yeah, and we had school.
Yeah, so for example, I saw that maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Sometimes that happens after a full moon. You'll notice the day after a full moon, you can see the moon and you can see the sun at the same time. I actually have a really cool picture on my phone that I took this most recent one or the last moon cycle. And
Do we have to, like,
I'll put it up.
here?
we have it every year. It actually happens every few months. But for example, there are big moons that you'll see. It's still one large moon. It's just the way our moon appears. And that happens every few years, every few decades. Sometimes it happens every couple centuries. And I know that there was a big one not too long ago where they were like, I don't know if you remember last year with Miss Broder. Remember she had you guys stand outside
Oh, yeah.
and you guys used the
Some,
The
maybe I
three-
don't
the
know.
3D glasses, yeah, and so you don't hurt your eyes from the sun rays. That happens every several decades where the moon just shines so brightly, and if you use that, you can see it. It's like a perfect little crystal. You can go blind if you look into sun rays on days like that when the sun rays are that strong. It's just something really cool that happens so often. Yeah.
Why that school year, it didn't cover the whole sun? What it did, but it didn't look right.
Well, it's just because of the moon phase that we were in, right? So there are times when you're going to see the moon in different shapes, right? Just like the four we are talking about, it's just a different phase of the sun.
And it was like so tiny.
I know. That happens every few decades. It's really cool. It's just the different phases. There are more than just four that we're going to talk about, and that might answer your question. It's a good one. Yeah.
I don't know a question. How does the moon turn after the sun goes down?
The moon never really goes away. It orbits around the sun. You can kind of see that photo right there. It's not that the moon goes away, it's the fact that it's going around the sun. It's constantly in this rotation. It
Wait,
orbits. Yes.
So that means, wait, that's so
Pushed away.
technically the world is spinning, right?
Yeah, and the world is spinning.
Oh.
She's right.
I'm only saying the world is spinning because not like that in different times, like saying, let's say New York, for instance, because sometimes there are a few hours ahead of us, or sometimes some countries and some states are like, it's nighttime for them and it's still daytime
Different
for them.
time zones.
So it's like, the moon could be over there. And
Yeah, that's
how-
very well thought. That's exactly right as
The
well.
moon is actually being pushed away.
Go ahead.
The moon is technically being pushed away because of Earth's gravity pull.
Exactly.
It's spinning, it's like the gravitational force like forcing it to like push it away or so every single time that like orbits around the Earth.
That's exactly right. That was a very perfect answer. Robert just explained it in better detail and he's spot on. Exactly. So if that doesn't make too much sense to you, you can think about it the way that he's describing, right? The gravity, the Earth's gravity, the gravitational pull has a lot to do with the shift in the moon, right? And it's pushing the moon away. So the moon is turning, it's orbiting, but the Earth is also always spinning. All of these things that you're saying is connecting to why the moon phases out the way it does. Thank you, Robert. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to Andres, then we'll come back to your question. Let's finish the reading, okay? Yes.
Isn't it when the when it's dark? Isn't
The eclipse? It can be if it lands on that moon phase. We often call it the eclipse, right? So all of these things, you guys obviously feel like this might be more relevant because we love the moon, we love the sun, right? Brightens up our day, darkens up our night. So these are all important things that we see. So I love the input. Who wants to read the last paragraph? So, not Michaela went, Labea went, Marilyn, do you want to read? Okay, we're gonna give everyone a chance to read. Yep, last one. So last quarter.
About 3 weeks after the new moon, we see half of the moon's face lit up on the left side. Again, it looks like we have circles in the sky, but this time the left side is lit.
Wonderful, nice reading. Okay, guys. So pretty much, they're really simple images. Obviously, the pictures that you guys see on the front page aren't exactly what it looks like, but you typically see a half moon, full moon, new moon. The new moon, a lot of people think the white one is the new moon, but honestly, what does it look like in the sky when you see a full moon, a giant white circle, right? So the new moon is when it's just darkness. You don't really see the moon. It's not that obvious. So now when you guys study the sky, I was like, oh, that's which phase we're on. But there are more. These are just the 4 main ones.
And the other ones are gonna answer more specifically which moon you probably see, because these are very specific. It's a full new half moon, which you see on the right side looks like it's filled in is the first quarter. If the left side looks like it's filled in, it's the last quarter. But we're gonna talk more about that. Now, go ahead and flip to the next page. I'm gonna turn on one light for now, and I'll turn it off again. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time to fill out these four. It's just asking you to label the four phases we just talked about. Which one is the first image where you see a black circle? Which one is the second image where the left side of the circle is black, the right side of the circle is white? The third one, which was the white circle? And the fourth one, which one describes the left side of the circle being white and the right side of the circle being black? Where would you find this information? The very first page of your packet. So you can work with your neighbor. It's just 4 words. Well, 4 labels. A couple words. And then we're gonna go over it in like
So half moon,
20 seconds?
yeah. So if you look in your first page,
I'm gonna come around as well. It's all on there. Pretty easy, I hope. You guys, 10, 15 seconds. Well, a little longer, 30 seconds, right?
What's the last?
sorry, my other timer isn't working. It's my signal not to- Listen.
Right now. At any class. Do you have PE next week? Yeah, I'll let you know when I sign your contract. It'll be enough time, maybe a little less.
So new moon, full moon, first quarter, last quarter. And I know it's on the front page, but if you have a hard time seeing that, I'm gonna write it up here. Which one is the new moon?
The black one.
Which one is the full moon? You guys can talk to your neighbors. I hear the answers, good. And then the first quarter
The second one.
and the last quarter.
That's Twitter.
You gotta know this, I think you guys are doing good. Okay, if you're not done, it's okay, we're gonna go over this together. Who can tell me, raising their hand, which one is the first one? Yes, it's Andrea, go ahead. Excellent, so for number one, you're gonna write new moon. Good, so I'm gonna even type it out here, it's on the board. You can also see it over here. So again, under number one, new moon. If it will let me. Okay, who can tell me, it's not working, but it's okay. Which one's the second one? Next person with their show of hands. Esmeralda, what's the second one?
The first word.
Is that what you guys got for number 2?
Yep.
Yep, good. I'm gonna just label the numbers over here. So again, the first one that we saw, you guys would write which one?
The
New moon. So for number 1, you should write new moon. The second one, as Mother just said, is what?
first word.
So which one's the first quarter? Number 2, right?
Yes.
So under number 2, you're gonna write first quarter. Who can tell me the third one? Robert.
Full moon.
Excellent. That's when you see that big white ball in the sky. The last one is everyone. Last quarter. Good. So under those lines, make sure you have that written down. we're gonna move on, so if you didn't finish writing, it's still up here on the board. Okay, so go ahead and flip your page over. It's double-sided, so yeah. The very next one,
The moon's down.
say that again?
I was just making the.
So it's actually on the back of that page, so if you flip. It's this one right here. And then we're gonna eventually label it. So
Faces.
there are a lot more than just 4 phases. So anytime you guys see that it says 4 main phases, that's just saying those are the most well-known phases, right? Like those are the most obvious. You can see these and be like, oh yeah, I know which one this is. That's the last quarter, that's the first quarter. But now, there you see what else do you guys see on that paper now? By the way, if you don't know what page you're on, it's the one up here on the screen. It's on the back of the second page. Or sorry,
You mean the paper, right?
which one?
This is,
So you're gonna flip the page once, and it's the start of
yeah.
technically the third page. This one right here. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, but you need this paper, because for,
Is it extra?
yes.
Oh, it's from my teacher, the teacher sheet. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Cool. So now, Andrea mentioned this. Andrea, what do you notice? You said
This little,
it starts with C, crescent. So this is where you will see the crescent. It kind of sounds like croissant, but it's crescent. I'm just kidding. No, it's crescent.
no, this one's.
That one actually, that one's gibbous. We'll get to that. So who wants to read? We're gonna read the newer ones, okay? So we already learned about the new moon. I'm gonna read it first just quickly to review, and then I'm gonna call the next person to read the second one, okay? So again, I hope you guys are following along with me. New moon. During this phase, again, the moon's not visible at all. You guys can't see it because the side of the moon facing Earth is not lit up by the sun. So if you're wondering why is it that I can't see the moon, it's because the side of that moon is not being lit up by the sun based on, like what Robert said, based on the direction of the Earth and the moon, the pull, the gravitational pull, the way it's pulled away. All these things are a factor. And it also begins the start of what we call the lunar cycle. Does that word sound familiar? Lunar? What does that sound like? Have you guys heard of the word luna? What does luna mean? There you go. So luna in Spanish means moon, right? Yeah, so that could be I know my students' pet is named Luna. That's a common name for pets. It's very cute, right? Usually, I don't know, like, have you guys ever heard, for example, like ships? They give it a gender, like they usually say her or she. So,
Most likely always gonna be girls. though.
yeah, typically, right? Like Robert, I know you know this, right?
Okay,
So sometimes we just gender it. So Luna, we tend to gender. Sure. I mean, there's no specific gender of the planets, but yeah, Queen Mary, like it's usually a girl, so I don't know if there's a very specific reason,
Wait, what about
but Luna's usually a girl's name. The haunted hotel. I don't know what haunted
the one where the lady died?
hotel Cecil? Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. I've actually been to that hotel, it's in LA. Well, let's get back to that later.
What is it?
We'll talk, we'll have a, we
What is
should have
it?
talked about this on
It's where the lady died.
Okay. Can I have your attention in 3, 2, thank you, Leo, and 1. Maybe next Friday, the following Friday, on minimum day, we can chat about that. I'll tell you guys my spooky story if you care for it on your holiday party. Yeah, some of you guys already know, because I told this story last year.
We didn't let it go.
Okay, we're gonna move back to the learning. We'll circle back to that on that Friday. Thank you, Andres. I know you guys want to hear my stories. I love story time, so this is not the time. So I'm gonna wait again for it to be quiet in 3, 2, and 1. Can someone else I have not heard Alex or Guadalupe and Emiliano yet. Do you guys want to read at all? Emiliano, would you like to read?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna read the second one that says waxing crescent.
Waxing?
Go ahead.
It's right.
Guys, yeah.
Shh, let's be quiet, guys. Alex, thank you. Go ahead.
I see right here, so
Perfect.
waxing crescent.
Crescent?
Crescent after the new moon. A small
Sliver. Good job.
A small sliver of the moon becomes visible, which
Appears.
I got it now.
Good job.
Visible, which appears to be growing larger each night. This phase is called the waxing crescent.
Oh my gosh, Emiliano, you're such a good reader. Can I have a high five?
Thank you, Mr. John.
You're very welcome. You guys are great readers. Well done. We're gonna come back, okay? So I'm gonna try to hear from more friends I haven't heard from first, and then you can have the second turn. Okay, so, good, very good reading, Emiliano. Thank you. So again, waxing crescent, that's when you get to see those fun little shapes of the moon that doesn't exactly look like it's halfway filled. That maybe looks like, what, maybe a fourth way filled, right? It looks really tiny. So I'm sure, have you guys seen this shape in the sky before? Have you? No one's seen that before? The second one? You guys have seen that one, it looks kind of like. Flourish of banana. That's personally one of my favorite moon phases, because I love the way it looks. It kind of looks like a smile, like in cartoons, they make it look like the Cheshire Cat smile.
You talking about those like TV shows, show the face?
Yeah, that one. Huh? Say?
You know how, I want to say if the moon is like pop culture, those.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, just like DreamWorks. You guys know DreamWorks, usually in the start of a movie film, that's what Livia is saying. It looks like they're sitting on a moon, and he's like using a fishing pole. Yeah, so that would be a waxing crescent moon. Good observation. That's very cool. Okay, next. So we know about the waxing crescent now. Again, it's like a small sliver. So when you hear sliver, it's really small, skinny. It's just a part of that moon that's invisible, but the rest of it is actually getting bigger every night. The white part of that moon looks like it's getting filled in as we go through the lunar cycle, right? The moon is filling out more and more. So it's just at a different stage. Kind of like a lot of different cycles that we think of, like a cocoon and a butterfly appears. You can think about how that takes time, right? Until the butterfly appears. It's just like, it's new cycle, it's new life every time, right? You can think about it that way. We learned about the first quarter, that's when you see half of the new moon, but it's important to know which side is being lit up. The right side is being lit up, right? And that tells you also it's the halfway point between the new and the full moon. Next one, waxing gibbous. Guadalupe, can you help me read that one? Miss Florida and I can help you read as well if you need it. It's this fourth one right over here. Go ahead. More than?
More than half of the moon become visible.
Illuminated? Nice. Good. You guys are such good readers. It's always the quiet ones. It's all of you, but I'm just saying I never hear the quiet ones, but you guys are all really good readers. I love to see that. Good. So again, what is the main difference you guys notice between the crescent and the gibbous? What do you notice?
They're on different sides.
Yes. Go ahead, Leah.
If you compare that one is kind of looking at the same thing, but it's not sure, but it's kind of like the same border.
So, okay, anyone else? Okay, so I want you guys to know we never see like a black crescent in the sky, right? This is just showing you that the black part of these drawings is supposed to represent the darkness in the sky. So what you'll see is only this much of the moon. Now it looks 3/4 of the way full, Like sometimes you'll look at the moon and you'll be like, is it a full moon night? I don't really know, but it looks pretty full. It's when it's not completely full, right? It looks like only 3/4 of it is shaded in, right? Like when you drink a water bottle, it's not fully filled to the very, very top. It's like everything is not. But yeah, only most of it is filled, but not completely. And then we know the full moon. That's when, I don't know if again you know this. Nice, the wolf. I mean, she's not wrong. I might hear wolf into it. Maybe not from where we are in California. We're too That'd be a little creepy. Yeah, so the full moon again happens exactly around approximately 2 weeks. Again, you'll see when the new moon and all of these phases complete out, it becomes visible to us and we see a pretty full circle in the sky. So again, I'm gonna turn the lights on. Some of you guys I see got a head start, which is fine. But we're gonna move on. Sorry, that was pretty bright. I'll try to give you guys a heads up. We're gonna move on to this side.
Okay.
I know there is more reading. We're gonna skip that page because we already talked about these.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. You're gonna skip the page one more time and you're gonna label the 8 phases.
Okay, ma'am.
So
I like this.
we also are adding a couple things, right? There is also the waxing crescent, the waxing gibbous. Right? So if you guys look between the first and the second page, it is the same, but there is more. There's also the waning crescent. I'm just gonna read that one to you guys. I thought we covered all of it, I apologize. So it's on the back of that same page you're on. It's following the last quarter. Only a small sliver of the moon is illuminated and appears to be shrinking each night. This phase is called the waning crescent, leading back to the new moon to start the cycle again. So sometimes you'll see from these images, it looks like the crescent lines on the left side and the crescent lines on the right side. So similarly to that, for the waxing gibbous, you'll also see it look like it appears on one side, and then you'll see that it appears on the other side. That's the waning gibbous. So there's waxing and waning gibbous. There's waxing and waning crescent. Very, very similar. It's just completing a different part of the cycle. So if you guys go from 1 all the way around to 8, like a clockwise motion, you'll see the full complete cycle of the lunar cycle. Okay? So go ahead and you guys can work on that. I'm gonna check back in with you guys in like, you guys maybe 5 minutes. If you're already done, maybe help out a neighbor. And then I will be calling you guys up shortly to fill out your contracts. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
That was a attached.
no, I took it myself so I can see it.
Okay.
It's done.
Alright, excellent. Miss. I'm gonna improvise. Thank you. Good work today. Say that again, miss?
Yes, you can try. So I'm gonna have a timer showing in a second. Thank you, miss. And then you can just keep it on your desk for right now. We're gonna need it tomorrow. So I'll tell you what to do. If you can put it in your pouch, you can put it there, yes. And I know there'll be a sharpening your pencil, which is fine. We have like 4 more minutes, okay? So when you're done, check in with the neighbor. Make sure you guys have all of the correct answers. It's easy to make little mistakes. It's okay. When you're done, you guys can bring up your contract to me, but please form a nice line. I don't want to see any crowding. And then just show me your work. Michaela, you already showed me your work, so I'm just talking to those.